Good evening. Tonight we will be addressing the PragerU video, Facts Don't Care About Your Feelings, hosted by none other than the Ben Shapiro. I understand that this video was uploaded in 2017 and I'm a little bit late to the party, but it's okay. I brought more booze.
Vanderbilt University, November 2015. 200 students rise up to protest the white privilege and microaggressions of the racist, bigoted Vanderbilt administration.
Okay, so let's see. Let's go to Google, Vanderbilt 2015. Oh, look at that. Earlier in the year, someone spray-painted swastikas in the housing for Alpha Epsilon Pi, a traditionally Jewish fraternity.
The protesters don't offer any specific examples of discrimination, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that they feel victimized.
And to parade on his poop party a little bit more, I did some actual research and found out that this was not a random mob of 200 students, but rather in fact a protest organized by a student group named Hidden Doors. I also found a list of demands that the student group behind this made, and during the protest that they gave this list to the Vanderbilt chancellor. So right off the bat, 15 seconds into this video, that's an extremely bad look for Shapiro. These campus radicals don't want anything. They're just protesting for no reason. Okay. In fact, this section of the video doesn't really even have a point to it. It's just trying to say that hundreds of people are protesting nothing. There aren't really even any facts that can be checked here. What's going on here is it's just trying to prime your mind so that you will be up against whatever those overreactive college radicals are up to. Betty boy, he's not one to let facts get in the way of his fifis.
But that doesn't matter. What matters is that they feel victimized. As somebody who was viciously bullied in high school, I'm not a fan of bullying. The next day, a bag of dog poop shows up at the front door of the university's Black Cultural Center.
A quick little note here. When I went to look this part up, I was only able to find a couple sources about this, one being from Vanderbilt's police. Most of the other hits that came up on Google were from right-wing websites circle jerking about how much they hate college kids.
All hell breaks loose. Full of righteous indignation, student activist groups rushed to Facebook to denounce the racist act.
Note the screams. Note the sirens, like I made this video. To tie this back to my earlier point about sourcing all of this, I was not able to find very many records of so-called student activist groups denouncing this.
The police investigate. They quickly find the person responsible, but nobody is arrested. You know why? Because it turns out that the bag of excrement wasn't a racist attack. It was left by a blind girl with a service dog. She couldn't find a trash can, so, wanting to do the responsible thing, she left the bag outside the door of a nearby building, knowing a janitor would pick it up and throw it away. The student group did apologize.
Moving along, notice this line.
The student group did apologize.
You may notice he didn't actually name the student group there. And in fact, we've gone from a mob of students to activist groups to a singular group.
200 students, student activist groups, the student group.
But then they added another charge against the administration. The needs of students with disabilities on this campus are also marginalized. Seriously, this is not a joke.
Actually, I went and found the Facebook post he's referencing here. The full quote is, "At this moment, we recognize that the needs of students with disabilities on this campus are also often marginalized, and there are improvements to be made to make the perfect Vanderbilt experience accessible for all of its students. It's evident to me that in the context of this post, the group Hidden Doors, that's the name, is referring to their own lack of knowledge about service dogs, and that by jumping to a conclusion, they involved a random bystander who was simply performing a routine act required of her disability." And no, it's not a joke, Ben. Accessibility is a serious thing. You don't really think about the needs of people with disabilities unless you're one of them. Why even say it's not a joke? I don't know what exactly he's trying to say here, but I have a pretty good idea. Let me guess, he didn't say that. He's probably trying to make fun of the group Hidden Doors here by being overly reactive and now they're caring about somebody else. But why even say that?
On the college campus today, feelings rule facts and victims are heroes.
I mean, if that were true, then Hidden Doors wouldn't have apologized in the tasteful way that they did. And as for victims being heroes, that's got nothing to do with this incident. You just stapled it on there to get to the next talking point. Like a big dead baby stapled to the back of the chicken crossing the road.
According to the left, all inequality in America is due to victimization.
No, it's due to capitalism.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Oh wait, that just destroys the next 2 minutes of arguments he makes in this video. Don't worry, I'll go through them. Just for you guys. I love you.
They start by claiming that all non-white people in America are victims of white privilege.
White privilege is not the mechanism that oppresses, but rather it is the term for those who don't have to deal with racial-based discrimination on a large scale in a majority white nation. But that doesn't fit into a quick soundbite, though. The cat's meowing.
Then come gays and lesbians and the transgendered.
The transgendered. Okay.
They're all victims of our heteronormative and homophobic society.
Heteronormative and homophobic society.
Gay marriage has only been legal in the United States for less than 4 years now. Less than 2 when this PragerU video was uploaded. Every single American who has been in a gay marriage knows that those scars are very real. I know, Benny, that if you're watching this, I know that you strongly disapprove of the gay, but this is an example of a systemic prejudice. I know you would never acknowledge that, though.
But what if you haven't actually been victimized by anybody? That doesn't matter. To the left, so long as you feel victimized, you're a victim.
Hey man, someone once cut me off in traffic. I felt pretty victimized by it. I still do. But no, I agree with this sentiment. If there is no victim, there is no crime. Oh, wait a minute. He's also in favor of decriminalizing a lot of drugs. So I guess in a way, he kind of agrees with me on something.
Even if you have never actually experienced discrimination, you've surely been targeted by microaggressions. You know, nasty little words and phrases that weren't meant to be insults, but just are. If somebody asks you, where are you from? That's considered a xenophobic microaggression. They're implying that you are a foreigner. If a man holds open a door for a woman, which, by the way, you're supposed to do,
wrong.
That's a sexist microaggression because he's treating her like she's a helpless female.
So these are all very transparently poor straw men being used to mischaracterize people and their arguments just to get in on that anti-SJW train. This video did come out in 2017. But no, a proper microaggression would be something like,
Hey man, I didn't know you were also in favor of decriminalizing a lot of drugs. I guess you're not such an evil Jew after all.
But see, that kind of hurts, doesn't it? Well, it won't hurt him. He doesn't care. And you shouldn't talk like that to people. Saying something like that is not a statement of objective fact, although it does contain some facts. It's a statement showing your disdain for a certain group of people and that you associate certain negative traits with them. I think I can get away with this bit. So is Ben German going to A, be offended by this bit, B, agree with me because he is above identity politics, C, not say anything because he doesn't know who I am.
And heaven forbid anybody address you by your biologically accurate pronoun. What if she identifies as a man?
Oh, I get it. It makes a lot of sense now. He referenced the dog poop story earlier because that's what all of his arguments consist of. From now on, I'm just going to start calling this propaganda Prager poo.
In short, everyone's a victim.
There sure is a lot of it.
Except, of course, straight white males.
Crohn's disease.
Also, anybody who dares to disagree with the left.
It's like Benny Boy just took his hands and
If you're guilty of either of those crimes, you must be confronted.
squished it together into a
Even if doing so requires actual aggression.
4-minute video.
Like, say, a riot.
Big mud pie.
Here's a trick the left plays to justify their violence. First, they say it's okay to punch Nazis. Then they say that every conservative, in fact, everybody they disagree with, is a Nazi.
Call me old-fashioned, but I don't know if punching is going far enough. And the folks who call everyone Nazis are usually not fit enough to be punching people. Doesn't it kind of say something about you, though, if your ideology is close enough to Nazis that you think it's likely you might be mistaken for one?
Here's the biggest problem with the left's argument. They're based on feelings, not fact.
Of course, he gives zero evidence to back any of this up, when in fact, the truth is that here, in the United States, there is significantly more right-wing violence than left-wing violence. You may wonder where he's getting these ideas, why he thinks this way, why he's saying these things, but he's telling us in the video. For what it's worth, overall violent crime is down. I don't know why these people don't like to talk about that.
Take white privilege. The only real privilege in America is American privilege. Everybody in America has it, more than citizens of any other country in the world, the privilege to make your own decisions and live the life you choose.
Oh, and also, all lives matter. There's only one race.
We're all the same colors on the inside. When you split your opponent open in glorious battle and drip blood down your naked body as you feast into their simmering flesh.
I'm sorry, where am I?
According to the liberal Brookings Institution, if you make just these 3 decisions, you'll do fine. And with drive and ambition, you'll probably do better than fine. First, finish high school.
Most people already finish high school.
Second, don't have babies before you're married.
Or just cut your balls off.
Third, hold down a job. If you do these three things, you'll be on your way to the privilege of middle-class life, regardless of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or gender.
Whoa, hold up. Turns out there's a Vox article from 2015, 2 years before this PragerU video came out, that already wrote about the flaws in this. Most of them are probably already obvious to you if you don't live in an ivory tower of white privilege like Benji does. I'm going to go ahead and summarize quite a lot of it here. Most people who drop out of high school don't really do so of their own volition. Graduation rates depend on a lot of things. Poverty, health, and a poor family environment being among the most obvious detractors. You know, kind of hard to stay in school if you're sick all the time. Kind of hard to do well in school if you're hungry all the time. And moving on. Unplanned pregnancies often hit those who are already poor harder. They can't afford birth control, and they've likely had a worse sexual education than their more wealthy counterparts uptown, north side of the tracks, on the good side of town. You know what I mean. And lastly, working. Oh my god, this one is so stupid. If you're a working class person, you probably already know it's not easy to find a full-time job. Most companies simply don't want to hire full-time employees. This country had a major recession not that long ago, and layoffs are still a very regular thing. It's not uncommon for people with higher education to often be underemployed and or struggle to find work. And this is only going to get worse in the future as even more and more automation takes over. But hey, you know, maybe we can all work for PragerU. Worked out well for Ben. Another problem with this thing he referenced is that it excludes certain segments of the population, notably households headed by people under 25, the elderly, and people on disability. Those are some pretty significant population segments. So, you know, anyone can work hard and be middle class, as long as we ignore the people who can't.
Also, there's no patriarchy.
Oh, well, if Lil Ben said it, it must be true.
Women already make up the majority of college graduates. According to Time magazine, young single women without kids already earn more than their male counterparts.
Well, you know, maybe if men spent a little less time holding doors open for women, they could be a bit more competitive. No, but seriously, I googled this too. This NCES page came up. According to the numbers here, 56% of college students are female. A slight majority, but a majority nonetheless. But the second part of his claim made me suspicious, however. So I pulled up the Time article, which was not sourced in the video, I might add. I'm going to fail you for this assignment, Mr. Shapiro. You should have attended my office hours. So the Time article is from 2010, kind of dated now. Already kind of dated by the time the PragerU video came out. Now, the way Shapiro worded this was, young single women without kids already earn more than their male counterpart. But this actual article contains a pretty important note. Here's the slightly deflating caveat. This reverse gender gap, as it's known, applies only to unmarried, childless women under 30 who live in cities. The rest of working women, even those of the same age but who are married or don't live in a major metropolitan area, are still on the less scenic side of the wage divide. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. The holdout cities, those where the earnings of single, college-educated young women still lag behind men's, tended to be built around industries that are heavily male-dominated, such as software development or military technology contracting. So this is quite clearly cherry-picking the one segment of the population where women make more than men do. And it's a wild misrepresentation of the facts presented in the article. Ben Shapiro don't care about facts.
Oh, and gay and lesbian couples? They earn more than their straight counterparts too.
Oh, let me just jam another thing in here that has nothing to do with my previous point about the patriarchy. So, is he trying to say that LGBT discrimination isn't a thing here because of the typical median earnings? I'm assuming that's what he's getting at, but he doesn't quite make any normative claims here.
These are facts, and facts don't care about your feelings.
Hey, he said it. Good boy, Benny. Just spouting facts without connecting them to your thesis is worthless. I understand his thesis is owning the libs, but come on. It's like he packed all his talking points together, but he didn't proofread it or do any editing to tie it all together. Seriously. Now, we're almost at the end here. Watch these last few lines.
Neither will your employer if you get a job after you leave school. The moment you graduate, reality is going to hit you like a truck.
This is a sentiment I've seen before, acting infinitely wiser than someone and telling them that reality is going to hit them like a truck once they get out of school and into the real world. The thing is, though, I've worked in the real world. They expect results. The conservatives I've worked with whined a hell of a lot more than the lefties did, especially the boomers.
So, stop worrying so much about your feelings and start worrying a little more about being a good person, doing your best, and not getting in your own way. If you don't, The only thing you'll be a victim of is yourself.
So those are the last lines of the video. I get that it's an attempt at trying to be inspiring, but it's not really connected to the rest of the content in the video at all. I get that he's trying to make an attempt at being inspiring here, but this has nothing to do with the rest of the content of the video at all. That's how you're going to end it? It's like he was writing this and thought, what would Jordan Peterson say? He may call himself a Shapiro, but to me, he'll always be a zero. Also, can you believe this end credits scene for the PragerU video?
To keep these videos free, click here.
What is this, Benny? Come on now. Seriously now, Dennis, if you're watching this, Ben's ripping you off, man. You're making oil money. You deserve better. Anyway, here's how you do it. If you liked this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Seriously. I don't really care about the comments too much, but you know, all the interaction is nice. It helps me get up there, helps us get the word out. You know, we're spreading the good word to the people. Amen, hallelujah. Oh, wait, they're Jews. They don't do that.